and welcome to this week's episode of 5 Minute Fridays. I'm Miranda.
And I'm Dan. We're live, I think.
I think so. Should be.
It's been a technically challenging morning here.
It really has. Just goes with the theme of the week.
Really glad to be here. Okay.
All right, let's take a look at what we're streaming with today. Obviously, we're streaming to YouTube and Facebook.
We're using vMix Pro version 22.
Got a PTZ Optics UXB 20X camera.
And an NDI 20X camera.
Yep.
Speaking of technical difficulties.
I got the X-Keys mouse mat.
And we're using our Kindle Fire to trigger comments from the social networks, Facebook and YouTube with vMix Social. So send us some comments, questions, please.
Yes. And of course, we're using our X-Keys XKE 124 T-Bar with the video switcher key set. All right.
Yeah. We don't need to tell them all the technical weird stuff that's going on in here.
No, that's okay.
For us.
But we're getting a chuckle out of it.
What are we talking about today?
We are talking about switch interfaces and switches.
Oh, switch interfaces and switches.
Yep. So we have two different ones, and I believe we have them both over there if you wanted to grab them.
This little puppy.
That guy is our X-Keys USB 12 switch interface.
Yeah, if our demo camera was working, I could show you a close-up of it, but...
You know, technical difficulties.
There we go.
Yep, so you can plug in up to 12 switches on that.
Yeah, it has 6 ports, 3 on each side.
Yeah.
And you can split these out with like a left-right splitter, 3.5 millimeter stereo splitter. So you can put 2 switches into each port.
Yep. And then if you need just 1 to 3 switches, we have our USB 3 switch interface. Looks like a little thumb drive.
There's the port.
Way more powerful.
And this one, although it looks like your standard 3.5 millimeter port, is actually a 3.5 millimeter TRRS port, which stands for...
I don't know.
Tip.
I know, but not off the top of my head.
Tip, ring, sleeve.
Yeah, duh.
Switch. And if you look really close at this guy, I wish I could show you, instead of having the tip, the ring, and the sleeve on it like your normal headphone earbud plug, it has an extra ring on it, which I think the cell phone industry, those guys use it to put a microphone in as an input. But we use it to split out 3 switches for this little guy.
Plug it in.
And then you can put 3 of our switches into the other end.
Yep. And got some Orbi switches and foot switches and switches everywhere.
Yes. I have them in here. Did you?
I have some Orbis right there.
Oh, okay.
Although you're showing the green one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this one that's transparent. It looks right through my eye. Here's a red one, which doesn't chroma key like the other one.
It's not as fun.
It has this little audible click. And it's very sensitive. I mean, you can just brush this thing and activate it.
Yeah, a lot of people use them in the assistive technology world. But we both did a little tutorial.
Yes, we did.
You want to look at one now?
Sure.
All right. Let's look at...
Mine first?
Why not?
Me first, yay.
All right, this is with Macroworks. Have fun.
So as you can see here, as I work day to day, I have a tendency to save a lot of files to my desktop because that's a very convenient place to find them when I need to get to them later. But it's getting a little out of hand here and I need to clean it up. And I could just use my mouse to drag and drop things over to these 2 folders I've created. One I call Keepers and the other I call Trash. But that seems way too tedious. So I'm going to take these 2 switches and the switch interface and program these up to do this for me. I've got my switch interface with the splitter, so I've got a blue and a green switch, and I'm going to program the blue one to take things to the trash folder and the green one to take files to the keeper folder. Okay, so what I want this macro, or these two macros to do, I want them to do a mouse click, not an up and down click, but a press and hold. And then I want them to bring the file up to one of these two locations and let it go. So let's open MacroWorks. And it opened with the switch interface, which I want. We're going to use software mode for this. Now if I press my blue button, you see that's opening up on switch 1. My green button is opening up on switch 2. And I'm going to show you a little trick to make programming these two macros go a little bit faster. So let's start with the blue button. And I want functions, show functions, mouse, buttons, and what I want for this is a left down, because I don't want the button to come back up. So double click on left down, I've got that one. Next thing we want is a move. So for that, go back up here to the mouse functions, select movements, and what I want is an absolute. It's going to go to the same position on the screen every time, no matter where my mouse is. A relative move would mean it would go so far from a given spot that I'm in, but I know I always want this to go to the same spot, so absolute is what I want. Now it's asking me for pixel coordinates, but how do I know what the coordinates of these folders are? Well, if I come back here into MacroWorks for a moment and get this mouse button cursor utility and launch it, now you will see that as I drive my mouse around the screen, it's tracking the X and Y coordinates. So I'm going to go up here to my trash folder. I see that's X32, Y145, and if I press any key like the space bar on my keyboard right now, you'll see that those coordinates are locked in so that I don't have to write them down or remember them. I can come back here and I better make them visible. Type in 32 for the X and 145 for the Y, and that is my that's my move. So I've got hold down the file, move to that spot. Now on the release of the button, this is when I want to do the drop. And so on that release, we're going back to buttons, and I want to bring that mouse left button up. There is my macro. So that's for my blue switch. Let's just test it out once. First I have to click off of MacroWorks, and there it moved up and dropped the file in the trash folder just like I wanted to. Now I could go through those steps again to program the green button, but instead I'm going to come over here and say copy whole key and paste it. And then I'm just going to come in here. I've already got my mouse. Those three functions are already in here for me. I just need to change the location where this is going to be dropped. So I come back here to my mouse button cursor utility and hit my key again to free up the coordinates. You see now they're working again. Come over here to the keepers folder. I'm now at X30, Y245. Spacebar will freeze those. So back in here, X30, 32, but why not? And this time 245. And save that. So now, if I'll close that, click on the desktop, which takes MacroWorks out of focus. Now I can test this. So I'm going to go back here to the file I want to keep, press my green button, moved it to the keepers folder, let go, and there it is. So now I can go through my desktop, keep this one, keep this one, keep this one. Now I noticed that every time I do this, it's leaving my mouse cursor up here, and I have to drag it all the way back here to the desktop. So let's fix that. Let's go back into MacroWorks, open up the switch interface, still software mode. So let's, this time, after we complete the drop, I'm going to double click to open that for programming. After we let that go, let's bring the mouse back to the center of the screen, so at least I don't have to bring it all the way across. And the way we do that, again, is functions, show functions, mouse movement, do absolute again, and I could probably calculate where the center of my screen is, knowing that it's a 1920 by 1080, but you know, we got this nice utility. So let's see, roughly middle of the screen where my cursor is now, and I'm at 935 and 530. So 935, 530. And we'll save that. Click off of it and test it. Here's one we'll throw this one out. And it's brought the cursor right back here to the center of the screen. So let's add that to the second key. I think it's easier to add this in than it is to copy the whole key over again and change the coordinates again. So mouse, movements, absolute, and we still have our coordinates from last time, 935 and 530. Save that. Close this guy, click off of here. Let's see, where's the one I want to keep? I want to keep this one. And again, my cursor has come back to the center of the screen. I like that. So now I can go in here and say, yeah, keep that, throw that away, throw that away, keep that, and I can clean up my desktop in short order without doing a lot of clicking and dragging with my mouse. So that's just one of the functions you can do with the switch interface or with any X keys really. Thanks for watching.
And we're back. That was quite the tutorial.
That guy goes on forever. And what a messy desktop.
Your desktop gives me anxiety.
It's looking a little better today after I did that.
Good. I'm glad. It needs to.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is a really cool function, though. It didn't look too complicated to program either.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what to show for switch interface, and I thought, okay, this is something I really have to do. So
might as well program an X keys for it, right?
Right.
Nice.
And you have one.
I do.
To show us how to do it, or not that, but just a simple function.
Yep,
right?
a simple function in Controller Mate on the Mac.
Okay.
So take a look.
We're tired of listening to that other guy, so let's roll that.
Today I'm going to show you how to program an X keys USB 3-switch interface with an Orbi switch in Controller Mate. Now, Controller Mate is the Mac programming software for X keys. Once we plug in the unit to our computer in Controller Mate, we want to look at our palette window and make sure that it's connected. The next thing we want to do is create a new programming page. That will show up towards the bottom of your programming items. Come back over to your palette window and we can press the button. Now it'll automatically go down to the button that is connected and it'll highlight it. Go ahead, grab that and drag it over to your programming page. The next thing we want to do is program the button with something. So let's go down to Output, and today let's select Keyboard Building Block. Grab that and drag it and connect it in your programming page. You'll know it's connected by the connecting green line. The next thing we want to do is actually add some keystrokes to that button. We go to our inspector window. Now, if your inspector window and palette window is not open, the only thing you have to do is go to the top and select window, and you'll see editor, palette window, inspector, and you can open it that way. So let's go ahead and program undo to this red button. So we want to hit capture and hit Command Z on the keyboard. And then once you're done, hit stop recording. So you can see everything's programmed. Let's go ahead and test it out. Let's open up a new document, and I'm just gonna start typing, but I've made a mistake. So the best and easiest way to fix that is with a big red undo button. And we're back. That one was short and sweet. I mean, everybody needs an undo button.
Everybody needs an undo button.
I use that the most on my X keys.
Probably most people don't trash up their desktop the way I do, so you may not need a trash and keep buttons, but undo button, that is a requirement.
Yup. Well, that was our switch interfaces in a nutshell and about MacWorks and ControllerMate. Close it out.
Let's close it out, and we'll come back and yak at you guys. There's stuff happening in the chat.
All right. Stay tuned. All right, we're back.
That was loud. We need to turn that volume on that closing video down. I think a little bit.
Sorry for your ears, guys. All right. Do we have any fun comments?
We have all kinds of fun comments.
Good.
Where to begin? From our friend Big Shoe. Maybe if I send it there.
They work well with the rail driver.
Yes, they do. And there's something in the train sim, well, in trains, they call it dead man switch, which if you're a driver, you have to keep hitting it to prove that you're still alive so the train doesn't like lock up and stop.
Okay.
And so that button makes a nice substitute for that.
Makes sense.
In the train sim. Let's see. Tommy wants to know if he could connect this to his Arduino. I believe you could, Tommy, if you can control your still with keystrokes. Sure you could.
Short and sweet. Who are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
I don't know. I'm definitely not the shortest person here.
How strong are the Orbi buttons? Can they be pressed constantly without breaking?
They're pretty durable.
Yeah, they were designed for assistive technology. They were designed to be bashed on with an elbow, wrist, knee, foot, whatever. So they're pretty darn strong.
Mm-hmm.
Well, while that guy was droning on forever about that mouse tutorial thing, Miranda ran out and grabbed one of our foot pedals so you could see what that's like.
Yeah.
This is, we call it commercial grade foot pedal. It does have an audible click there, very durable, and it has these nice little mounting holes on here so you could screw it down someplace.
Yeah, and those come in 4 colors as well.
Yep.
But I only grabbed one, sorry guys.
Black, red, yellow, and
green.
Chroma key green. Let's see. Who else? Maggie.
We also sell some durable foot switches that work with them as well. Yes, we do.
There we go. Such timing.
All of you are short. Sorry you had to.
Oh. Big Shoe is a big guy.
Well, you know.
Ooh, not that one. How about that one?
Great
I know you too
minds
well,
think
Megs.
alike.
That's right. Wonder what that's referring to. Yeah, on those
Nice.
Orbeez, right?
Nice.
We have our own Switch coming out. I think I may have previewed that to you guys on some previous mouse tutorials.
Yep.
Should be hitting the shelves any day now. That's really durable, and we'll have a fun demo where we drive over it with a big truck and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, stay tuned for that. We're excited about it.
Let's see.
Any more fun comments,
Talking
questions?
about it still, probably got. To go back, to go way back.
So many comments today. I love it.
Hello, Martin.
Hi, Martin.
Thanks for joining us. It's not broken, Martin. You're just watching the replay.
Nice.
So, this week, Miranda and I watched an interesting video. Was it maybe last week? Live Streaming Pros last week?
One of the weeks. Was
Losing
either this
track.
week or last week.
Anyway, Luria from Live Streaming Pros presented this report on social media and live streaming. And one of the interesting things that came out of that was that study after study shows that your peak engagement and viewership happens right around the 20-minute mark for live streaming.
Yep.
So we stopped worrying about running over our 5-minute mark. And this does make sense because, as she said, people aren't just sitting around waiting for your live streaming to start unless they're Rudy or Martin, maybe. But
unless you're our awesome fans.
Yeah, right. Because our fans do wait for us. But frequently it takes them that long to wrap up what they're doing and get over to your stream or remember that you are streaming and come in late and catch it. And we see that here. Mm-hmm. So we're happy to stick around a little bit longer.
Yep.
And
no more rushing through.
Like this one. Oh, that was a while ago. This is the first time I've ever been on this app where we had so many comments that it spilled over to 2 pages and I had to go back a page.
That's exciting.
Okay. Another good comment here.
Foot pedal looks better for my needs. I've been making your German that works in the back and smash the button.
That's right.
Yo,
that is right.
That's funny.
More info about the interfaces. What would you like to know, Rudy? What could we tell you? I mean, I think those are fans out there anyway know that programming the buttons on the interface is no different than programming a switch on an X keys.
Yep.
They have all the same capabilities. It's just a contact closure to us, and it happens to come from a switch instead of a key.
Yep. One thing I do like about them is that if you do just need one button, you can get that with this.
Right.
Thanks.
That is nice when you're not tending your still or taking care of the mule. How's the mule, Tommy? How is he doing? Let's see. Well,
what else is interesting about switch interfaces?
Your experience on Amazon was interesting yesterday.
I don't know if I'd call that interesting. Maybe frustrating. Maggie and I were streaming on Amazon yesterday, and it was going great. We were streaming about switch interfaces, and then all of a sudden we got kicked off, and it just stopped. It said, "It seems like you've been experiencing some technical difficulties, so the stream has stopped." And then it says that there was a policy violation.
Yeah. So apparently
they don't tell us what it is.
We violated some policy, but so far we haven't been able to get them to tell us what that policy is.
Right.
Too much fun, maybe.
Maybe.
Those fun police got us. There is another.
Yes.
Very good point, Mags. Very good point.
Yep. And that goes to say program in hardware mode if you're using a Mac and you don't want to use controller mate as well.
Yeah. You have to program it. Hardware mode only works on a PC.
Yeah.
But then you can move it over to the Mac and it's just
Right.
going to play out keystrokes like emulating USB keyboard.
Yep.
My fat fingers are hitting the wrong things here.
Quickly explaining again the difference between software and hardware mode. So software mode, you have to have Macroworks running in the background along with whatever software you're using it in. Hardware mode, you can program it and then it will actually write it and save it to the device memory.
Mhm.
And then you don't have to have Macroworks running while you're using your X keys.
Yeah. We call it hardware mode because when those macros commands are stored in the X keys memory, we're sending them into the computer at the hardware level. So to your operating system and any application on board, it looks no different than a USB keyboard or a USB mouse. In software mode, we're actually sending our proprietary report to the operating system. It goes on something called the hit consumer page. And our software, our Macroworks software, is watching that page. And when it sees a change, it says, oh, button 6 went down. I'm supposed to map that to this macro and do this function.
Hmm.
So, and that works for most things, but occasionally we run into a piece of software, we call it reluctant software or something like that, that does not like seeing those messages come from the operating system. It's only looking for something at the hardware level. And that's why, one of the reasons why we support both of those.
Yeah.
The other one is the portability.
Right.
If the macros are stored in the X keys, you can take it to another computer. You don't need any software, anything special. You plug it in, hit the key, the keystrokes go out.
Yep.
Cindy, you made it.
Nice.
Thanks for dropping by.
You're welcome.
Very welcome, Tommy. Any other questions, comments, fun stuff? I do have a diagram.
There is one.
Don't have it handy, but I can send you that picture, Tommy.
We'll put it in the comments.
I already have it drawn up. I can send that right over. All right. Well, it's going on lunchtime here.
Yep.
My stomach's growling.
So is mine.
You guys aren't asking any more questions. Thanks for the questions you did ask.
Yeah, thank you for all the great comments and questions this week.
For those of you like Rudy and Martin who are out of the States, this is a holiday weekend for us. Monday is Memorial Day, where we all take a day to thank our fallen soldiers and servicemen. And most of us thank them by eating and drinking and resting. So
It's true.
and it's kind of here in the States, it's kind of the kickoff for summer. It's like
Yeah.
the first big weekend holiday before summer starts. So we won't be here on Monday was my
No.
point of getting to this. But
Yep, but we'll be back in the office on Tuesday. Check out our website, Tommy. Yep,
yep,
it's all on
we'll
there.
send you a link and it's on there. So
Have a great weekend,
have a great
everybody.
weekend, everybody. Those of you here in the States, have a great holiday on Monday.
Yep.
And we'll see the rest of you, everybody else, I hope, next week.
Bye.
Bye.